They all bullied her, laughed at her, mocked her clothes, her silence, her poverty years. But what they didn't know was that the girl they bullied was the lost daughter of a Forbes billionaire. This is the story of the girl who went from village silence to billionaire spotlight. Stay with me as we uncover how one ordinary evening began and changed her life forever. Welcome to Savanna Storytime, where ordinary tales hide life's biggest lessons.
For 30 long years, Samuel and Ngozi had waited for a childbirth. Their small home, tucked in the heart of the quiet village of Bodija. Every month brought fresh disappointment. Every festival, another reminder. And with time, the couple had learned to stop hoping. But fate has a way of arriving when hope has long packed its bags. It was on an ordinary late evening, sunset painting the skies in soft golds, that Samuel's life changed forever. He was returning from the market, his step slow, his heart heavy, when a sound caught his ear. A child's cry. Faint. Fragile. Like a question searching for its answer. He paused, heart pounding, eyes scanning the roadside. And there, just beyond the dusty path, he saw her. A tiny baby. Alone. Wrapped in silk finer than anything he'd seen, the child lay as if placed by unseen hands. Her skin was pale from the cool evening air, but around her neck glinted something even stranger, a delicate golden necklace, its craftsmanship unlike anything local. And engraved in neat, careful letters, a name. Zara. Samuel froze. Fear gripped him first. This could be trouble, he thought. No one abandons a child like this by accident. Kneeling slowly, Samuel reached out. Gently, he gathered her into his arms and took her home. That night, under the flickering light of their small lantern, Ngozi stared at the child in disbelief. Tears traced silent paths down her cheeks. The following morning, they deliberate whether to take the baby to the police or not. But Samuel proposed they wait to see if there's any news, but there was none. A week later, they left the village to another to avoid bothers by those who knows of their child problem. Now, they feel comforted because they now have the child they had waited 30 years for. From the moment Zara took her first steps in the narrow corridors of their modest home, her adopted parents knew she was different. Not different in the way money could buy her, but in the quiet brilliance that shone from her eyes. Though they had little, they gave her everything they could, their love, their sacrifice, their dreams. She repaid them not with luxury, but with determination. By the time she turned 15, Zara's name had already begun to carry whispers in her local community for the mind she carried. Books became her escape, knowledge her comfort. And when the opportunity came, a national scholarship exam that seemed like a dream too far, Zara didn't hesitate. She won. A full scholarship to Royal Grace Academy, a city school where names mattered more than grades. Where billionaire sons and daughters walked marble corridors, and politicians' children arrived in convoys, not school buses. A world that looked nothing like hers. The scholarship paid for her tuition, uniform and major books. Zara stepped into that new world but soon stood out, not because she wanted to, but because in a school like Royal Grace Academy, where others compared gadgets and designer bags, you can't afford to be average. In classrooms echoing with gossip and rumors, she kept her focus steady, her eyes on the future her parents dreamed for her. The school presented a pack of wolves clothed in sheep clothes. They appear gentle but party all night long. In the midst of it all, Zara chose to remain herself, neglecting all invitations, and soon caught the eye of the Prince Charming of Royal Grace Academy. David was everything the girls at Royal Grace Academy dreamed of, tall, effortlessly handsome, and wrapped in the silent confidence that came from being the son of a Forbes billionaire. His every step drew glances. His quiet smile stirred hearts. His presence, a currency far more valuable than the luxury cars parked outside the school gates. One afternoon, as the sun poured soft gold across the courtyard, David approached her. "Hi. Zara, right?" Her heart trembled, but her face remained steady. She nodded, her eyes locked cautiously on his. "I was wondering," he said, voice low enough for only her to hear, "if you'd want to go shopping with me after school, just a few minutes and we can get to talk." The silence between them stretched. Then, softly but firmly, she answered, "I'm sorry. I can't." She didn't explain. She didn't apologize. She simply turned, walking away, her rejection clean and final. But from across the courtyard, Sophia saw everything. Sophia, the queen bee of royal grace. Every strand of her imported braids, every swipe of gloss across her lips, every curated laugh, was designed to crown her the undisputed ruler of their world. And in that world, David was a prince. Seeing him reach for Zara felt like betrayal. Her smile, always so perfectly painted, cracked. By the next morning, Zara's quiet life shattered. Laughter followed her wherever she walked. Not the warm laughter of friends, but the cold, sharp mockery of enemies. At assembly, whispers danced like wildfire. Charity case. She should thank the school for the scholarship and keep her head down. Maybe David feels sorry for her. At lunch, her seat disappeared. Her tray accidentally knocked to the floor. Books shoved from her hands. Footsteps blocking her path. Eyes daring her to fight back. Sophia led the orchestra of cruelty with ease. Her clique moved like shadows behind her, mimicking her every insult, laughing at every sneer. And through it all, Zara said nothing. She picked up her books. She swept up her tray. She walked on. But every silent tear behind closed doors carved deeper cracks into the walls of her quiet dignity. Yet, even as they tore her down, they never noticed. They were mocking the lost daughter of a billionaire. And soon, their laughter would die in their throats. The sun was already dipping low that afternoon, casting long shadows across the school courtyard. Students gathered, their voices loud with excitement and cruelty, another spectacle orchestrated by Sophia. This time, Zara was the target. Again. Sophia's voice rang sharp, commanding attention like a queen addressing her court. Her words were laced with venom, but Zara, as always, stood quietly. Worn uniform. Faded sandals. Eyes steady, though her heart trembled. But Sophia wasn't satisfied with silence today. In one swift, angry motion, Sophia lunged forward. Her fingers gripped Zara's sleeve, and before anyone could react, the sound of tearing fabric echoed through the courtyard. Zara gasped, stumbling back as her school shirt ripped open at the shoulder. For a moment, that was all it was meant to be, a public shaming. Another blow. Another humiliation. But then, everything stopped when David came forward to protect her. He had been watching from across the courtyard, but as he came closer, something else caught his attention. Exposed against Zara's skin was a birthmark. Not just any birthmark, a distinct one, which David also had on his shoulder. At first, his mind rejected what his eyes showed him. But then, without thinking, he asked, "Is that a birthmark, Zara? Where did you get it?" Zara looked up, confused and ashamed, and left, ran past the distracted security men and headed home. David tried to follow but couldn't keep up. Sophia and the entire school watched, breathless and confused as ever. At home, David decided to confront his parents. As he entered the mansion, his mother froze amidst conversation with his father. David. He wasn't the boy she knew in that moment. His face was pale, trembling, his lips parted like he wanted to speak but the words refused to come. Instead, he raised his hand slowly and pointed to his shoulder. "Mother, the birthmark. I saw it on a lady in school." The silence in the room thickened. His mother staggered back, clutching the edge of the ornate table behind her. But the words spun too fast. The weight of the truth, the years of buried grief, the impossible hope she had long locked away, it all came crashing down. David's father stood, he remembered too. That night. The night their baby girl was stolen from her crib. The golden necklace she wore, the one with her name, Zara, engraved so carefully, lost along with her. For 16 years, they mourned her in silence. But now, she may have been alive all along. The following morning, the billionaire's convoy pulled up to Zara's small house. They had discreetly gotten the address from the school's principal, an hour from Royal Academy to the community she lives in. Zara's adoptive father stood at the compound, unsure whether to step forward or step back. He had no riches to offer, no explanations to give. Only a girl he'd loved as his own. The billionaire and his wife stepped down from their car, not with the arrogance wealth so often breeds, but with faces streaked by curiosity. Then, they approached and began conversation. Zara paid attention to all they said in detail behind the door, her heart split between her billion-worth family and the family that nurtured her. She wanted to run away through the back door but met David outside and they sat down together in the car, talking about the reality of them being twins. That evening, in the quiet warmth of that modest house, two families sat side by side. Billionaire and laborer. City mansion and village kitchen. Differences dissolved in the simple truth that they all loved the same girl. Since her adopted family never got permission, Mr. Doughton, the Forbes billionaire true father, proposed she should stay with them and can visit her adopted parents anytime she wishes. Samoa and Ngozi felt powerless. They can't fight in a law court, they can't complain only to wish that the rich ones don't take their daughter away forever. The next day, back at school, the hall once echoing with laughter at Zara's expense fell silent for a different reason. Sophia, once the queen of cruelty, stood to the side as whispers crawled through the crowd like smoke. David and Zara, from the same car, the new uniform and composure, the entourage. The same girls who had once clapped at every insult, stood behind Zara, their gazes cast low. No more applause. No more smiles. At the front of the assembly, the principal cleared his throat, his voice more careful now, more respectful. It has come to our notice that some students have been. You know, that kind of speech that you'd want to say to punish the bullies but needed to list the school rules and back big grammar. The principal didn't hold back. Sophia and her gang were suspended for hurting a fellow student and not only the daughter of the Forbes billionaire, a key contributor to the education donation system of the school. The whole school gasped, so she's not poor. Zara stood, and by her side was David, standing as a proud bodyguard to his sister. The same girl they once laughed at. Now, the hall didn't echo with laughter. It rang with awe, the kind that says, "Is this how someone's story changes overnight?" And in that silence, Zara's voice whispered. They laughed at me, not knowing I belonged to the very world they worshipped. But today, I'm not proud because I'm a billionaire's daughter. I'm proud because, even when I had nothing, I knew my worth. And so, Zara's story reminds us all. Don't judge people by what they wear, where they come from, or what they have. Because sometimes, the person you mock carries a story greater than your imagination. Respect everyone. Treat others with kindness. Because life can change overnight. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Savanna Storytime for more life-changing stories like this. See you in the next video.